Hello, it is Friday night, June 4th, 2021. I'm here on Baker Street in Nelson, BC, in this office space. So tonight I'm going to concentrate on, this is the first night, this is the first class of 4. And there'll be every Friday night in June. And tonight we're going to concentrate on the physical level. There'll be, I might have to jump up and down a little bit. I'm live streaming on something else too. So, and this is my first time doing this, so this will be, I'm a rookie. Okay, the first thing, let's wait for a couple of minutes to see if a few people come on. Okay, we got people starting. So just in the first few minutes, let's just relax together and do some deep breathing. Let's talk about the 3-part breath to start, and then when there's a few more people on, I will do more of an introduction. So, in the Gnostic way work, which is the inner work, we have 3 main physical components that we concentrate on. One is being perfectly still. And by perfectly still, I mean not moving anything voluntarily. Of course, the breathing is managed throughout it. So first we'll sit. No crossing of legs, no crossing of arms. Just sitting with the spine straight, not rigid, just relaxed. And we'll breathe deeply through the nose, down deeply into the diaphragm. Making the belly come out first as you inhale. Come from the bottom up, breathe in, all the way to the top, and then exhale from the top down. When you get to the bottom of the exhalation, pull in your diaphragm and do not allow a pause. So let's do a few rounds of that together. So perfectly still, breathing deep and even, and all of the, we call them physical principles. So we can start with nutrition, but it's not just nutrition. It's everything that goes into the body. So that can be anything that people are smoking, anything that we're putting on our skin, or washing our laundry, brushing our teeth, everything that is coming into our field, we are taking it into the body. So it's a matter of thorough detoxification. and really being aware of where we are in the present moment in regards to that physical level. Let's see if we have. Okay. Hi, Rose. Okay, we're on. So tonight is not going to be as long as I had anticipated, for a very simple reason. We have had extremely high temperatures, and this room is very warm. I've been up here for an hour preparing, and I am really getting a good sun up here. So we'll keep it. We'll just go through a few of the physical things to get going. I'm, attempting to manage these two different live streaming, and I'm not familiar with doing this. So, yeah, we're just going to keep it short. This will be like a trial run. So, no matter how long we are in this consciousness change, where we really feel it deeply and we're willing to go forward with consciousness change for ourselves. It doesn't matter how long we're doing that. We come into layers and levels all the way along the path. And sometimes we even take a little rest from it, have a little plateau for a little while, and then we jump in again. And this comes to one of the main things about the teachings in the Gnostic way is that this is a self-initiated, self-responsible, internal practice. So I'm sharing the work that has been given to me, and each of us are completely responsible for what we do with it, how we take it. There is no, I give you the protocol, and the timeline is yours. You can apply it as you choose. So let's go back to the three main physical principles again. So being still is something that most of us are very unfamiliar with. This is something that we practice. In the body electronics work, we practiced, more and more as we went down the flow sheet. Yet when we got to the visualization and consciousness course, it was onto a whole new level. So we actually started with being perfectly still, with the tongue on the roof of the mouth for several hours at a time. Excuse me one moment, I'm going to shut a door here. So, being still is something that we just practice. So it's not like a stillness that we might think about going into a meditation. It's a conscious stillness, a stillness where we are keeping the body still. This is our intent, to keep the body still and concentrate on the breath. Do that 3-part breath. And not for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but really extend it each day. So just expand it. It also expands the physical levels, these simple principles. When we expand these principles and make a focus of it to really expand it every day, be more and more aware, be more conscious of what we're doing and how we're doing it, as far as even what we're eating, what we're drinking, how we're eating. Are we in a good, quiet space when we're eating? Are we celebratory? Are we feeling grateful, that gratitude for the plants or the animals or the vitality that we are taking from the earth to feed these bodies. So it deepens and deepens as we move into more and more willingness and become more aware. So as we build on that, we get to experience more and more of our emotional body. So we really have to be aware of that as we step into consciousness change, as we step into the power of transmutation. So each time we am aware of an effort, really putting an effort forth, then that movement, that's going to change some energy in our bodies and in the field that we put outside of our bodies. So let's have a little. So, stillness, breathing deep and regular, and having really cleaner and cleaner food, drink. Being very aware of how we self-medicate. So that is something that is a huge process of letting go. So I'm going to, let's look at a couple of things here. So, How We Heal by Douglas Morrison. This book is one of the fundamental books that I ask everyone to read or reread when doing the inner work. Every time you read it, you'll find deeper and deeper meaning in it. I'm just going to read you something about. So let's look at the willingness. This is about in body electronics, and hence the Gnostic way, we have a principle called lovingly and willingly endure all things. So when I first heard that, I really mulled that over for a period of time and looked at each word in that, even attempting to change the wording to make it more palatable. And I came right round circle back to those words again, lovingly and willingly endure all things. So this is something that we are not used to doing in daily life. When we are lovingly and willingly enduring all things, we are in a state of non-resistance. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about that in terms of healing, in terms of our own personal healing. So Doug writes, the willingness to not heal and the desire to heal. Let us consider how this relates to the healing of our body. Suppose we have a particular physical condition, and we are quite unwilling to have that condition. If we are not willing, we do not have an unconditional love for it. In other words, we resist it. The result of this resistance is to perpetuate the very condition that we are resisting. And so long as we keep perpetuating this condition with our continued resistance, no amount of outer effort will bring healing. Let's talk about that for a moment. So we're looking at physical principles, and we're thinking about nutrition and good water and all of the ways in which we can access something external to assist us internally. Yet, this is saying that with resistance, no amount of external application will lead to our healing if we don't have a change of consciousness. So consciousness change is really at the core of what we're doing here. If we work this line of reasoning backwards, we may come to a surprising conclusion. Clearly, if our resistance to the conclusion is helping to perpetuate that condition, we must let go of this resistance. One aspect of letting it go is to be willing for that condition to exist and even continue in unconditional acceptance. In order for healing to be possible, we must be willing to not heal. One necessary condition for healing is the willingness for it to not take place. And as many can attest, taking this attitude is easier said than done. However, nothing is brought into outer manifestation without the desire for it to be so. So it is imperative that we understand that only through the exercise of desire can anything, including healing, take place. Thus, we come to another important principle in order for healing to be possible. We must desire this healing. These two preceding principles, when considered together, present a seeming paradox. It would appear that in order for healing to take place, we must on one hand desire this healing. On the other hand, at the same time, very important simultaneously, we must be willing for it not to take place. This may seem impossible, yet it is not once we understand the crucial difference between desire and attachment. Desire has taken on a negative connotation in recent times, and to some extent this may be due to how we translate ancient teachings from other languages into modern English usage. We are led to believe that desire is wrong and must be utterly abolished if we are to progress. However, in actuality, desire is necessary in order for anything to be brought into existence. Indeed, nobody would even try to abolish desire unless they first had a desire to abolish it. It is not desire, then, that is interfering with our progress. Rather, it is our attachment to its fulfillment, attachment being the unwillingness for the desire not to be fulfilled, a form of resistance. It is quite possible to have a desire without being attached to its fulfillment. In the absence of this attachment, there is no resistance, for we are willing for the desire to remain unfulfilled. As a matter of fact, the desire is far more likely to be fulfilled when there is no attachment to its fulfillment. With this understanding of the desire between desire and attachment, the previous paradox is easily resolved. For healing to be possible, we must desire this healing and yet have no attachment to it. We must remain willing to not heal. This principle can be readily understood, yet understanding it intellectually may be far simpler than following it, as many have found. So, lovingly and willingly endure all things. Let's just keep that in the forefront of all of the principles kind of come after that. We have crystalline structures in the body, and those crystalline structures take on memory. They take on, they're like a computer chip, and we have, they sometimes settle in certain parts of the body. That computer chip-like substance holds the word patterns, the vibration of what is being held. It holds the full memory, and it holds the emotion. So as we are unfolding the internal process in the direction of healing crises, in the direction of transmutation, we are experiencing a unlocking and an unlocking of the suppressed state, which then we can see and feel, at which point we can then practice transmutation for it to be released. Now, transmutation, let's say we have a memory come up. It might not be a memory that we even were aware of before, or maybe we're aware of it partially. When that memory comes up, and we feel the energy, the emotional energy that goes with it, and we find the word patterns that also go with it. We put those three things together. Then we're working with what we need in order to do a full transmutation. When we have those three things together, the vibration or the word pattern, they're usually very, very simple. They're, we'll talk about that a little bit later as far as actual examples, but the word patterns will come with the memory as the memory presents itself. And we take what we get in this work. We're not looking for a memory, or we think we had a traumatic event at a certain point in our lives, and then we want to transcend that event or transmute that event. It's not about picking and choosing. This is our own inner awareness, our own consciousness, providing exactly the right thing that we need in that moment. So we take what we are given in terms of memory, emotion, and word patterns. So we have those three things. What do we do with them? We need to bring what I refer to as the three powers. We bring those three energies together, thought, word, and emotion. And we bring one or more of the three powers into those three energies. Sometimes those energies are one at a time. So we will have the memory, but we won't have an emotion yet. We'll have the words, but we won't have emotion or a memory yet. So we just work with it until we find all three things. When we have all three things, then we can apply the powers. The powers are simple. They are love, the essence of what we are, not an intellectual idea or perhaps a belief system that we have around love, but the upflowing of energy that we all really do know. We know when we feel that energy. So that is the energy that we're calling love. So we apply the love, encompass the memory, emotion, and word patterns with it. We apply forgiveness, and we apply gratitude. Those are the three powers: love, forgiveness, and gratitude. When we're doing this work, we'll find that what we thought of as gratitude will change. What we thought of as love will change. What we thought of as forgiveness will change. The more we move energy out of our body, the more transmutation we actually accomplish, the greater access we have to those powers. Those powers are within us constantly. They always have been, and they always will be. So those powers are with us, they are us, but the patterns and programs that we have put as a shroud upon our essence, this is what we're working with to gently release, so that we can then have the access, have the awareness. And that awareness is connected to all that is. So it's a vast undertaking in an incremental way. So let's look at about a couple of more. So How We Heal is published by North Atlantic Books, and it's still in publication. So please contact your local bookseller if you don't already have a copy, and order How We Heal by Douglas Morrison. It's such a beautiful and profound book. To go with that, on my website, which is, you can find it thegnosticway.ca or wholehealthcenter.com. They'll take you to the same site. You'll find, go in the search bar and put in the Body Electronics Experience. That will come up as a free download. I share it freely. I'm not going to republish this anytime soon. This is a self-published book, and yeah, so just go there. Feel free to print and download. And this is written as a companion guide with How We Heal. It has basic principles and a lot of page numbers of where to find further writings in How We Heal from Doug. And then there's Holistic Health Made Easy, also self-published. I have that as well on the site. Just put in the title and it will come up. So this has mostly physical preparations, so this is a great thing to sort of start off with. This week coming, next week we'll move, next Friday night, we'll move more into emotional work. And but until then, you can look at the physical stuff and really start applying. That's really what this work is all about. It's not about the intellectual organization of thought or belief systems. This is about getting to the things that we really truly want to release from our essence, from what we've collected perhaps over eons of time. So it's really about getting down to the work, and it takes application every day application. And to me, there is nothing more important than making time for our inner work. Something else that will possibly assist on the beginnings, especially if you're new to holistic nutrition. There is, on my site, you'll see 43 posts. I call it the Holistic Fast. So it'll be right there, very easily accessed. So, just start at number 1, and you can work up through that fast as you choose. It is basically a recipe for healing crises. And I did it spontaneously each day. It wasn't something that I prepared. It was something that came to me in the early morning hours each day, and then I wrote it. I knew that it was going to be over 40 days when I started, but I didn't know what each day, how it was going to unfold. So when I did it along with it, and several people did it at the same time as well. And we all concluded that it was a really beautiful unfolding into a healing crisis, a very gradual unfolding. I do like the steady, I'm not going to say slow and steady approach. It can come very quickly, it doesn't have to be slow, but the steady approach, the approach of really remaining conscious of how we are treating our body, how we're thinking about our body, how we're moving each day, how we're thinking about ourselves. How this is about us personally. This is a work that has to be done in order to have true community. So one of the things I'm reminded that Doug used to speak in every lecture. He would say, so there's dependence, independence, and interdependence. That's the 3 stages of community or interactions with other people. So many of us are still residing in the dependent. So we're dependent. We have an externalized approach to life, and we're very dependent on the externalized incoming energy. One of the patterns that I have seen very prevalent on Earth in the last, particularly in the last approximately 15 months, is the pattern of it's sort of dividing humanity in a sense, and that is the pattern of tell me what to do, and then the other side of that coin is don't tell me what to do. So there is and there's many levels, of course, within that pattern. There was as many levels as we are individuals. So, but there is I see a very clear divide in the people that are externalizing their lives, and it's sort of in a way of they've put the responsibility for their life in an externalized way. So because they've done that, and we're all familiar with that, we all do that on some level, but some people have done it to a very great percentage. So then they're just waiting to be told what to do, waiting for other entities, other authorities to tell us what to do, and then we have an obeyance to that. So this is a self-responsibility. This is moving into deeper and deeper and deeper levels of self-responsibility for everything that we think, say, do, and that's internally as well as externally. So let's really look at this as our own personal inner journey for an unfoldment into greater awareness. That's what occurs. Every time we transmute, even if it's a small thing, something will trigger us in the day, and we'll see that, whoa, I feel, I'm feeling something around that. And we just take a moment. We don't even have to make it very formal. We can live this transmutation life. So we take a moment and we really, if it was an individual that said or did something that triggered us, we just take an internal moment, feel it, and love, forgive, and be grateful for it, and release it out of your energy field. So here's something I want to talk about as well in regards to that. We have been, excuse me, I'm just going to take a drink. Oh, it's so hot up here. Woo! So self-responsibility is key. Let's see where we want to go. Okay, so let's look at a couple of things here. So emotional responsibility, as I had a feeling today, okay, emotional fluidity. So what happens when we have emotional fluidity? Let's talk about goals and expectations. So when we're doing this inner work, we can often feel like, okay, I want to get to this place, particularly because I want this to end. So it's like a goal-oriented, it's sort of an agenda in a way that we put upon ourselves. So let's take that out of the equation and just allow in the moment what needs to come up to be released. So as we do this, and we get better and better at it, as we move the emotional body, we get so fluid within our emotions. So then we become sort of, at a certain point, we'll find ourselves being much more emotionally responsible. And this is what came to me today that I think is so important, that emotional responsibility that we have to our environment to not project. So that is not projecting anything that is unhealed onto another being, anything at all. We cannot project it outside of our field if we are truly doing this work. So we can, sometimes we have to take some private time and move into, into a place where we're alone for a little while to be able to do that work, to be able to make a release so that we don't project, we don't do something that we have to make amends for and will regret later. So we really must take personal responsibility for everything we say, everything we do, as we're moving our traumas, as we are moving through the healing crises. When the healing crisis erupts within us, we will be stimulated, sometimes more than we've ever been stimulated before. And it's at this point that we have to be very aware of holding that energy. Often even when we get to a level of anger. Anger is an emotion that wants to be thrust out, wants to be, you want other beings involved. It's very, it can have a seduction around putting it out into the world. When we feel any kind of anger, let's instead of wanting to thrust it out and be rid of it that way, which is it's like the most common reaction people have within that emotion. So if we catch it, then we can pull it in, we can find what's there, we can even feel a little bit of gratitude, love and forgiveness. We may get memories, we may not, but if we can just pull back and be emotionally responsible, then we're going to, that'll sort of percolate the healing crisis. It will have like a little bit of a pressure cooker effect, not on just anger, on every emotion. If we catch it before we project it, and we bring it toward ourselves, bring it back into our field, then we have the opportunity to really change it. This is what this work is all about. This work is about consciousness change. In order to do that, we have to find what needs to be released. We apply the transmutational principles, and then we allow it to be released. Sometimes we get very attached to our patterns, our programs. We become very attached to them because they're very familiar. And letting go of patterns is, can be extremely uprooting. It can really, in the midst of a healing crisis, it can be very chaotic. It can have a sense of chaos in it. And that chaos, if we embrace that chaos, then we're going to keep moving with it, keep moving. So let's get back to some physical principles, because that's really where I wanted to leave this tonight, is to really concentrate over the next week on bringing as much nutrient-dense food and pure water into our body as possible. We want to, in the Gnostic way, from Body Electronics, if you want to know about my bio, just go on my website and look it up, and you can see what I've done. But mostly what I'm speaking of here is the principles of body electronics within my work, which is the Gnostic Way. So what we need to do is we need to get all cylinders firing. And in order to do that, there is certain nutrients that are required in the body. That's all in the Holistic Health Made Easy booklet that you can look and find on my site. But let's go through a few of the things that are absolutely necessary. We have to have enzymes. Enzymes need to be taken and supplemented each day. I take enzymes from morning till night. Serapeptase in the morning, serapeptase when I go to bed, and digestive enzymes, really good quality digestive enzymes prior to having food. So enzymes are considered the number one on the nutritional protocol. The second one is minerals. Trace minerals are extremely important. The best minerals that I know of are from Enzymes International out of Wisconsin in the United States. I have been taking them for about 22 years now. And I have gone off of them occasionally to try other minerals. You know, there's a lot of other minerals on the market, and I have tried many, and they have never compared to the Enzymes International minerals. So they come in caps or gallons of liquid, and they are expensive. So save your money and put it towards these really, really excellent minerals. The Enzymes International will help you. They're a very small company that was actually was founded and developed by John Whitman Ray, who was the founder of Body Electronics. So they also have great enzymes as well, but one of the things that I don't like to do in the hot weather is order enzymes through the post. They end up sitting and getting into very hot conditions, and some of the enzymes are killed when they're over about 108 degrees. So we really have to keep our, buy from your local health food store, get them home and get them, they don't need to be refrigerated, but they do need to be kept cool and dry. Just keep them out of the heat. Don't leave them in your car when it's hot. So enzymes are number one, and minerals are number two. Number three is number 3, 4, and 5 are sort of equal in their importance. Minerals, let's go back to minerals for a second. Minerals are required for many, many reasons. And, first I want to say another thing about purchasing minerals. So there's another product, it's called Concentrace. It's a liquid trace mineral product. And until you get the Enzymes International minerals, Concentrace is perfectly fine. It's a good product. So that is a very good place to start. The minerals will activate the electrical body, the electrical system within our body. And when it does that, we get to have, it's like it jump starts a lot of things that maybe have really slowed down. It will really assist in the process of getting ourselves into a healing crisis. It also connects. It's a great connector. So when everything starts firing, when all that electrical activity really starts firing and things start to connect, we will feel that vitality. And when we're doing the inner work, when you do it without minerals and with minerals, it's really like night and day. So we really, these nutritional aspects are foundational and very fundamental to consciousness work. So enzymes, minerals, probiotics. many people, I'm looking over 20 years now, looking in people's eyes through the process of iridology. We have developed, and I've seen this more and more over maybe the last 5 to 10 years, where the gastrointestinal problems that are happening within at least the North American community, we are seeing really increased levels of parasites and bacteria that we do not want, fungus, yeast, all kinds of buildups in our bodies. There's many reasons for that. Diet is number one. Infections take hold. All kinds of things can happen in the gastrointestinal tract. And we have to keep our organs of elimination really in good shape in order for us to really keep the body detoxed and clean. So let's clean up that gastrointestinal, and starting with some, depending on your situation, just get on some really good quality probiotics. They do need to be refrigerated. I recommend that you take them at night. I found over the years, if I didn't have this habit, I would sometimes forget my probiotics because they're in the fridge and not with my other supplements. So I started a habit many years ago that works well, that take the probiotics just before bed with a large glass of water, and they don't have any food interaction. Then they're able to actually work in the digestive. I also recommend not to eat after, my rule is after 6 p.m. unless it's a treat night or if somebody's visiting or there's something, an occasion. But regularly, and I have a 6, after 6 o'clock, and sometimes it's even before that. So there's several hours before bedtime where your digestion is taking place. So probiotics. So let's go to raw protein, number 4. Raw protein is required for hormone production. So we need a certain amount of raw protein in our diet every day, not once a week. Every day we need raw protein in order to have the nutrients, the full amino acid, the whole spectrum of amino acids to be able to get hormone production. This is another problem I'm seeing with people, is that the hormone production is not happening, and people are having extreme fluctuations in our endocrine system. So getting that raw protein in, I see there's many ways to do it. The best and easiest way, if you don't have any issues with the gifts that bees give us, is raw bee pollen. So raw bee pollen has all of the nutrients, all of the amino acids within it. So the one thing you have to remember about bee pollen is, and it's best taken on an empty stomach, so that's a good thing to take first thing in the morning. Take it just have a little something to just crush it and break the little encapsulation. The bees really know how to protect and preserve their pollen, and just give it a little bash. Half a teaspoon is really fine to start, and that just gives us the nutrition. We know we have it in us, and then everything else, if we're having some hemp hearts or some good quality sprouts, good organic sprouts, and other forms of raw protein, then that's just in addition throughout the day. So raw protein. So we have enzymes, minerals, probiotics, raw protein. The 5th one is essential fatty acids. Essential fatty acids are also extremely important. So there's many ways, you have to study it, and also in the Holistic Health Made Easy, you'll see there's a lot of it. In fact, I've included Doug's writing on it in that booklet. So there's 12 points on essential fatty acids. They're excellent to read. Here are the oils that I am currently recommending. Hemp seed oil, excellent. Flax oil, good quality coconut oil, and some avocado oil. You can eat it, eating avocados, in other words. Avocado oil is a delicate oil, so it's best used raw, as all oils. Once we start heating oils, we're going to get into some problems. So, keep the oils raw and supplement as you choose. I don't recommend fish oil any longer. I'm finding that they have ways of cleaning out toxins in the fish oils, and I understand that. Yet we have to be really cautious when it comes to anything coming out of the waters now. Unfortunately, we've got some cleaning up to do in terms of our lakes and our rivers and our oceans. We have a lot of cleaning up to do, and that time will come. But until then, be cautious about any fish or fish oils that you're consuming. So those are the 5 main ones. You'll find many more on my site, many more applications to those 5, but we really need to have those 5 things for the foundation for this inner work. And you will really begin to see a difference in how they play a very foundational, fundamental part in consciousness change, in the power of transmutation. Okay, let's see if there's anything else that wants to be said tonight. Well, let's just do a little bit of a just a summation. So, stillness, practice stillness. Practice the breath, deep and even, right down to the bottom of your belly. From the bottom up in the inhalation, from the top down in the exhalation, not allowing any time to cease at the end of the exhalation. Really keep it moving. Breathe deep and even. Do a little practice of that this week. Some practice of keeping our energies from being projected into the externalized environment, even the earth. Years ago, maybe even in the 70s and 80s, there used to be a lot of primal therapies, and of course, I was participating in the evolution of things as it was presented, and there was a lot of people using the earth to release all of their energy. It was like a form of venting. So the venting would then, and we're going to talk about venting next week. We're going to get into the emotional body next week and really start moving some of that energy. And I ask you to, participate from where you are. Really engage yourself in it as we do these things. So, so that will happen next week. But for now, let's just keep the energy close and just allow that percolation. Don't, the earth has been so generous and so, the earth keeps us. There's a cord that comes through the top of our crown that goes all the way through the core of our body and goes right down, this energetic cord, and goes right down to the center of the earth. The earth knows us better than we know ourselves in many respects. So that energy flows through us, and it keeps this molecular structure, this magnificent blueprint of perfection. It keeps this in manifestation. So what is happening with the Gnostic Way work is we are transmuting anything that we've brought along onto the earth. We may have been here many times, we may have been many other places, but we're here now, and we have eons of collected consciousness. And this is what we are moving. We're moving that, moving it out, transmuting it. We're doing that self-responsibly. And when we do that, it not only removes the energy that is circulating in our bodies, but it removes the energy off the auric field of the earth. It's actually being transmuted and really recycled. It's recycled. When we transmute something, if we transmute anger, it's not leaving as anger. We're actually changing it. So the word transmutation means permanent change. So as we change it, that energy remains. It leaves our auric field, but it gets recycled by the universe. So it's really about self-responsibility. Anything that we have within us, we are being self-responsible in releasing that. By venting it out, although there is a place for venting, like I said, we'll talk about that next week, but by venting it into the earth or onto a tree or a partner or an authority figure or anything or anybody, allows it to escape from us and not be able to be transmuted. So, and it's not self-responsible. So what we want to do is bring all of that energy back. Bring it in where we can actually work with it. I think we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for listening. And you can join, if you haven't joined the Gnostic Way group page on Facebook, please do. And also see my site. There's lots of reading. There's so much there. And if you want to email me with a question or make a question on the Gnostic Way page so other people can benefit. And please be interactive. I am totally open to questions, and email me however you choose. Okay, thank you very much. Good night.